Hello. Today we are going into the remaining, well, probably not all of them, but going into the questions from a community post from a little while ago about the Idaho case. Picking up where we left off on this, I'm going to use my regular deck. I'm going to be using this new deck I got. It's the Gypsy card Oracle. Kind of just like has a picture and a couple words on it. And you know, the other normal decks. Okay, so we're going to start, oh, and also the dice, the mapping dice. And I saw a couple people asking about this, and just to explain really quick, essentially with investigative tarot, I've realized that these are the puzzle pieces, and then this helps us figure out where exactly on the table that puzzle piece goes, which just makes it a little bit easier to see what connects, what doesn't, what has something to do with something else, or what does not have anything to do with something else, depending on if one's on that side of the map and one's on that side of the map and everything like that. So that's just to explain the purpose in using that die. So we're going to start with SK wants to know, I'm going to reword it. Did anyone, okay, so there's been a lot of talk about if there was any kind of video recording of what happened. So this person asked if it was Dylan that was recording, but let's look into if anyone has recorded anything. SK is referring to, did Dylan possibly take a video recording of the killer when he walked by her? But there's also been talk about, did Brian possibly allegedly record anything? So let's just see if there's anything that comes up that would point to if there's any recording of anything or not. Two of Cups reversed. Five of Wands reversed. It's almost like what I'm getting here is like either Brian was going to record it and didn't, or it could be that maybe Dylan was going to record it and couldn't get her phone, but there's almost like a was going to but didn't for some reason. Oh, Seven of Cups, lots of choices. 10 of Wands, heavy burden. So it was definitely considered or thought about recording. Heavy burden makes me feel like it was Brian. 8 of Swords. Oh, no, it was Dylan. I don't think she did record. It's almost like she wanted to try and see if she could. It's almost like she wanted to see if she could get a video of the person without getting their actual face in it, like a video from behind or something, but it didn't happen. Like she wanted to, maybe it's that she went and tried to grab her phone and then it was too late or something, but she didn't want to see the front of the person, which is weird. It's like, it's like she wanted to get a snapshot or a video of like the person's outline, but not their face. I don't know if that's because she was, there could be a lot of different reasons for that, but it's like she wanted to try and get And I could just be seeing a very quick thought that went through her mind, like, oh, I should take a video, and then didn't. But it does seem like it was a thought. But for some reason, it couldn't happen. But I'm not seeing him take a video recording of this. No, that's not what I'm seeing at all. In terms of the killer, allegedly, Brian. Okay, so people are asking about the Brent, which we covered that in, I think it was the last viewer's question video. How did BK get in the door? From LL Gal. Was it locked or did he have the code? Queen of Cups. What about the Queen of Cups? The Lovers in reverse. So the Queen of Cups is like warm and welcoming energy, helping things to flow. And Lovers in reverse is like a bad decision, a bad choice. It also can point towards conflict. It's in reverse. The Hermit. I'm not picking up if it's purposeful or not, but somebody left that door open. Somebody left the door unlocked. They regret it now, but somebody left that door unlocked. Nine of Wands reversed and the Sun reversed. So the 9 being reversed here is pointing towards like the person who left the door open now feeling like, oh, well, I didn't know. I didn't do it on purpose. That kind of energy. But the Sun being reversed is saying like what really happened is not known. So it's almost like someone left the door unlocked, but it's still being said that like nobody knows why the door was unlocked, but the door was unlocked and that's how he got in the house. In a previous reading, you said whoever Adam spoke to, or whoever the person that Adam spoke to the killer. Is that still true? Judgment in reversed. Not learning a lesson. Should have known better. Which? 6 of Pentacles in reverse. A one-sided debt. He spoke to someone who spoke to the killer. He didn't speak to him directly. He spoke to someone. He spoke to someone, and that someone spoke to the link. And the link is who spoke to the killer. It's not directly him to the killer. They don't have a connection. Because it's the one side versus the other side. Okay, let's see. Okay, so we have these cards, and the main message here is that the door was opened by someone who made a bad decision. Where on the map is that? Northeast. Up here. And then we have Adam speaking to someone. That someone speaking to the link. Where's that? West. So all the way over here. Jay Keen wants to know about the 10 calls to ex-boyfriend. I think we did this, but let's just see. King of Cups. The Fool in reverse. Nine of Pentacles. Hold on one second. So this is really pointing towards King of Cups reverse Fool is like calling for a kind of emotional support, but the Fool is like he wasn't ready to give that, and that could be because he's sleeping or just because whatever other reasons. But the Nine of Pentacles here is what kind of makes me a little worried. It's almost like calling for emotional support because something happened. Like it wasn't just, I miss you, I want to talk. It was because something happened that they felt like they needed that emotional support, but he wasn't available. Apparently all three were at the bar together. Father confirmed it's Jack in the bar video. So one card for what they talked about at the bar, one card for what she was calling about in those 10 calls, and then one card for the connection between the two. Three of Pentacles. So that's them together at the bar. Probably the Hierophant in reverse. Believing different things. That's the connection between the two. The World. Huh. The World's an ending. So what they were talking about at the bar is the Three of Pentacles. And so this is like either talking about school, talking about work, something like that. I almost feel like it was like, oh, this is what I'm up to. This is my plans for the week type of thing, kind of conversation. And then what they were calling him about those 10 times was the World. So that's an ending of something or a completion of a cycle. But it's a completion of a cycle that's caused because something happened. And then connecting them is the Hierophant reverse. So different beliefs coming from each way. So the girls believed one thing and Jack believes another. Or they thought he would believe another. So the connection, they wanted to get his opinion about something. Clarify the Hierophant reversed. Nine of Swords reversed. Oh, Ace of Wands. King of Swords reversed. They were scared about whatever had been said, and they wanted to ask him his opinion about it because it's something that he told them not to talk about before. He told them, that's going to get you in trouble. Don't talk about that. Don't say that. And they did. And then they got freaked out about it, and they wanted to talk to him about it. And we have the King of Swords here, so it led to this King of Swords. But essentially, it's not what they were talking about at the bar. At the bar, it was like, hey, what are you doing this week? Or, hey, these are my plans. Or, oh, I have to do this. Or I'm working on that. Something like that. Kind of like comparing stories, like, oh, this is what I've been up to, this is what I've been up to. Like, I guess you could say small talk, but like informing each other about each other, I guess. And the world is saying this is separate from what was going on at the bar, and something happened and they needed his emotional support. This is something that he said before. I don't believe you should talk about this. I don't think you should tell anybody this. I think you should just be quiet. Don't say that. And they didn't. So that's why they were reaching out to him. And all of this ended up, it's almost like, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to say it. Oh, I said it. That kind of thing. And then it's like, okay, you just opened a whole other can of worms because I told you not to do that. And it ended with this King of Swords. Direction. Southeast. Southeast. So over here. So it's underneath of underneath of how he got in. It's underneath of how he got in the house. So how he got in the house, and then we have what was said. I'm gonna pause this so I can just write down what each pile is so that I don't forget. Be right back. Okay. Connie Berger said, we were told JS and JD were cleared of the crime. However, you said the victims were only supposed to be roughed up a bit. Did the frat boys know about the roughed up plans? So essentially, was anyone under the impression that this was going to happen, but stop at like being beat up, not go to murder? So that's 8 of Pentacles reversed, 4 of Pentacles reversed. So the 4 of Pentacles reversed would be the money aspect. So, and it would also be like, upright would be like keeping the information close to your chest, not telling people. Reverse would be telling people. So it was being told that it was something about recouping money or getting money back. The 8 of Pentacles being here is like essentially saying that whatever was being told was not the actual story. So like it was being disguised as something else. So did a bunch of frat guys know that there was going to be a murder? No. Did people likely know that there was going to be something bad happening? Yes. They didn't know what, I don't think, but they knew something. Page of Swords reversed. Yeah, it's almost like, it's almost like this has been brought up at least once before, like, oh, this is going to happen, or if somebody says something, this happens, or something like that. It's almost like, possibly like people heard about it and then didn't believe it because it's like, oh, heard that before, it didn't actually happen, or oh, okay, whatever you say, buddy, like that's not really gonna happen. That's the energy. Like people knew but didn't believe it and didn't know the extent to which it was going to go. Or it could be that they knew and believed it and knew it was going to happen, but just didn't believe the extent of what was going to happen. It's one of them, allegedly, in my opinion. But 4 of Pentacles is telling me, did people know? Yeah. People knew. Let's see where this goes. Northwest. So this goes it goes above the pile about who Adam told. Above that. So above Adam told. Northwest. Okay. Forgot about these cards, so I'll just pull one of these for each pile. One card for how he got in. It was in reverse, jealousy. And it shows a couple kissing and then someone watching in the background. How he got in. Either Ethan and Xana accidentally left the door unlocked, or that door was unlocked after they came in the house. Clarification for that. The Magician in reverse. Deception. Deception, manipulation. Somebody watching the couple. Remember I said in my previous readings that it was they were supposed to go home and didn't go right home, and it threw a wrench in the plans. And now we have a card with somebody watching them. Hi, Mom. Hold on. Okay, so now for a clarifier for Jack at the bar and the calls. Constancy. So we have somebody watching them and somebody watching what's going on at the bar. One for the talking about frat people that potentially knew something was going to happen. Money. And a clarifier for, so we said that Adam told someone who talked to the link, and now a card for that. Oh, love. Shooting the bow and arrow. Adam talked to somebody who talked to the link. Link, Cupid. Linking people together, Cupid. The arrow pointing and hitting the target. Oh wait, I think these are like out of order now. Okay, so I did a reading on the one sister. Be the Change wants to know about the BK sisters. And mother. Oh, I already did that one. Okay, hold on one second. Let me figure out where I'm at. Okay. Brooke White wants to know, is there more information such as proof that's not in the affidavit? For instance, have they picked up more evidence that Brian was the killer? Has his car or apartment revealed anything? So let's take the first part. Is there any more information such as proof that's not in the affidavit? 10 of Swords, 7 of Wands, and the Tower reversed. Proof not in the affidavit. Yes. It's something that they're waiting to use at the right time. Somebody, a person, gave information about where Brian got the weapon from. It could be the person that he bought it from, or someone that was with him when he purchased it. But it's like there's some kind of proof that Brian had purchased that weapon. But they're not using this until the right time, because whoever told them this, it is like either there's more that they can get from this person that they just haven't gotten yet, or it's like this person is being used as a pawn because they know that this person will talk, so they may be putting this person in certain circles or situations to try and get information. But there's something about the knife. Somebody knows or was with Brian or sold Brian the knife. Somebody has something that connects Brian to the knife that was used in the crime in terms of acquiring it. So like however he got it, somebody has come forward with that information. But they're waiting to use it at the right time. Death. Yeah, it's like, oh. So it's like, oh, I don't know, I should say that, hold on. Ace of Swords reversed. Okay, I just have to be careful about how I say it. Okay, so this would be like, for example, if police had gotten information from someone connecting Brian to the purchase of the weapon, or it could be, I know that he got it from this person, so then they go and talk to that person. But somebody came forth with information connecting Brian to the weapon, and that person that came forward maybe you being used as some kind of informant in other cases because of the information that they have or a connection that they have. So they don't want to play this card unless it's necessary, because then that will burn them being able to use that person as an informant. That's what I'm getting. I don't want to say more because I don't want to like compromise that in case anyone knows who it is. But that's what I'm getting with that. I want to person with knife info. I want to see where this goes in. Northeast. Northeast. So that is up there with how he got in the house. It's up there with how the killer got in the house and the person that was watching the couple. So the person that was watching the couple and the process of Brian getting into the house, allegedly Brian, is connected to this person that has information connecting Brian to the knife or the purchase of that knife. A clarifier card for person. Clarifier card for the person who gave the information about the knife. House in reverse. And it almost kind of looks like their house too, like the three stories. Person with the info about the knife. House in reverse. It's not someone that was in the house. I think that was just trying to clear that up. Like, was it one of the girls who said something like, oh, I saw him with this knife? It's not that. It's not one of the girls who is that informant. I feel like that's going to be important later, that it was not one of them. Have they picked up more evidence that Brian was the killer? Queen of Swords, Four of Cups reversed. Yes. The Four of Cups is about seeing something from a different point of view. And then the Queen of Swords would be a female that has turned on him. Or just information that they've gotten from a female source. What was the question? Have they picked up more evidence that Brian was the killer? They put pressure on someone and someone gave them information without realizing what they had given them, and it was like a piece of the puzzle that made other pieces fit. Like, for example, if someone said, like if they were possibly trying to figure out if one person has a connection with another person and they were interviewing a third person and that third person just happened to randomly confirm the connection that they were looking into, it's something like that. It's almost like it's almost like they know there's other people involved in this, but they're trying to use them for a bigger purpose to get at something bigger. So they're trying to not have everyone that had a part in this go down, because then they can use them in some way. Clarification on what I just said. Page of Pentacles reversed. Lack of progress. So yeah, they're not going through on certain leads in the way that would be aligned with this case, because they have an ulterior motive to use these people for a different purpose. Now that it's like oh, well, you did this bad, so you're going to help us with this, or you're going to go down for this bad thing. That's what it is. Allegedly, my opinion. And it's not that anyone else, it's not that anyone else was directly involved in the act of murdering, I don't believe, my opinion. But there are people that had a hand in this in some way, and they're not going down, but they're not going down yet because they're being used for something else, either to further the proof of this case or to connect another case. Or maybe not connect another case, but like in another case that's in some way connected to the background of this case, that is drugs. because the Page of Pentacles in reverse is also procrastination. So kind of like dragging their feet on certain things. But they know there's more people involved. Oh. They know that there is a connection between people that can be traced through money trails. Clarifier for that. It says officer, and it's a cop holding a sword. In terms of what I just said, and then that card coming out. It seems as though, like, the police have enough on other people to arrest them for a part in this crime, but they're not doing it because they're looking at it in a way that these people can be used in a different way, because the person who committed this crime is the one who they want to go down for it. Let's see where that falls. South. So at the bottom of everything. Okay. Has his car or apartment revealed anything? Knight of Swords. Seven of Swords. Yes, Seven of Swords is getting caught. But it's also strategies, so they didn't find as much as they could have if they would have been able to figure it out earlier. And that's not like blaming them. It's just saying that at some point before the cops came, there was a strategy employed to hide certain things, delete certain things, get rid of certain things. So there was more that they could have found, but they didn't, because that was all erased or moved or whatever prior to him leaving for Pennsylvania. But did they find something? Yes. And the Knight of Swords is making me feel like the Knight of Swords is like doing everything right, doing everything fast, getting all your ducks in a row, making sure that there's no mistakes anywhere. It's almost like what they found was not something that was like an accident. Whatever they found was something that he intentionally kept. So it could be something that maybe he thought they'll never realize. Like if they were to search my apartment, they would never realize that this is from that. It's something like that. But it's something that he got rid of other stuff, but did not get rid of something by choice because he didn't want to. And whatever that is, they have. But like, it's something that he kept on purpose because he went through, allegedly in my opinion, he went through the process of getting rid of the other stuff, like anything else that could have tied him to it. But there's something that he didn't get rid of because he didn't think, either he thought it was well hidden or thought like, if they search here, they'll never realize. I don't know what his mindset was, but yes, they have something. I don't think it's from the car. I think it's from the apartment. I mean, there may be stuff from the car, but what I'm referring to is something that was found in the apartment. Because he left it behind when he went for Pennsylvania. Southwest. Okay. Southwest, so that's over there in between other people potentially. Oh, so south we have other people that could be arrested because there's proof, but not being arrested because there's another way to use them. And then west we have whoever Adam told, or like the process of Adam telling one person that told another. And then in between that, so one's west, one's south, and now southwest, so in between, that's where we have the evidence that's left in the apartment. So whatever was left in the apartment connects him to someone else. So maybe it was left on purpose. Like something that would leave behind a hint of like, oh, me and this person have a connection. That's what they found. They found some kind of connection between him and another person that he purposely did not get rid of the proof of it. One card, clarifier. A gift. Something that somebody gave him, he left so that it could be discovered if they purposely, he left it on purpose to be discovered because it connects him to someone else that he purposely left in his apartment in case it was searched so that it would connect him to someone else. This is part of his plan. Like, so let's say I'm Brian, allegedly Brian. I'm leaving, or I'm getting ready to leave for Pennsylvania. So I now know that they're looking for my car. I now know that my car was seen on a body cam footage. I know that I need to get rid of this other stuff that could potentially connect me to this. But I still have this file that the link sent me. So this file, I'm not going to delete that with everything else, just in case they do come and search, because then that can put my plan into action of connecting me to this person. That's what I'm seeing here. Very thought out and purposeful. So did they find something? Yes, but it's something that he left on purpose. So there is the potential for him to try and use whatever they found in his favor, because it's something that brings in someone else to this case, and that's the reasonable doubt element. Sally Ramuson wants to know if Brian has a twin that has passed or another sibling that passed that he feels responsible for. Two of Wands. No. Four of Wands. No, that's representing his sisters and representing their house. Okay, so let's see. We did his sisters in a previous reading, but let's just see their energy right now. One card for the sister that is a therapist in New Jersey. One card for the other sister that I believe it was like in a movie or like actress or something. And then one for the connection between them. Two of Swords reversed. So this is the New Jersey sister. Page of Wands reversed. They're not really sure what to do. Six of Wands reversed. So the actress sister is trying to stay away from people. Don't want to be seen. Don't want to talk. Don't want to be nothing. Leave me alone. I'm going to hide. New Jersey sister therapist is trying to figure out what to do because she's not sure. She's like, I don't know if I should hide. I don't know if I should be out. I don't know. And then between them, they're just not sure what to do. There's just a lot of confusion. There's a lot of how do we handle this? I almost feel like the sisters are not on the same page. Like, High Priestess reverse. Oh, and the Queen of Pentacles upright. Yeah, one sister wants to talk and make a big stink and say stuff, and the other sister is like, nope, quiet. Sit down, be quiet, don't say anything. They're not on the same page, and they're probably bickering. This isn't like... This isn't meant to be malicious, but it might not sound very nice. But it's what I see, so I'm going to say it. I almost feel like the problem between the sisters right now is less about Brian and more about their own image. Like, he got himself wrapped up in something stupid, and now our whole lives are kind of in the not going so great. Can't leave the house, you know, can't our normal lives were stripped from us. And I think that the tension between the sisters is not so much about what to do for Brian, but more so how to handle their new lives now. Like, how do we go out in public? How do we do this? How do we be okay? And I feel like one sister wants to, maybe it's like post on social media, maybe it's go in the news, I don't know. One sister wants to talk and the other sister's like, nope, shh, quiet. Don't, nope. It's bad enough. We're in the public eye enough. Be quiet. That's what I'm seeing here. Let's see where this falls. Southeast. So the sisters are in the same category, the same Southeast category as Jack at the bar and the girls calling him. Oh, the emotional support element. So the girls called Jack, Jack didn't answer. I'd be curious to know if Brian called his sisters in the days before this and they didn't answer. Oh, remember in one of my early readings, I said that, like, before we even knew it was Brian, I said the killer was triggered, and then something happened, he was triggered, something happened, he was triggered. He reached out to one of his, and this is not to blame anyone, this is just what I'm seeing, it's just a piece of the puzzle, it's not the cause of anything, but he did reach out to one of his sisters and didn't get the response he was hoping for. And that's why one sister wants to talk and one sister doesn't. Okay. I'm going to do 2 more just because my desk is filling up with all the piles and I don't want to get confused. So I want to be able to make, because now with each of these readings, I'm going back and I'm making a little map of everything. And then I'm going to put all the maps together using the direction dice eventually. Which, in case you're wondering, my assistant has completed like 5 of them or 6 of them. So I am making progress on it. It is coming together. So let's do 3 more questions and then I'm going to wrap this up for now. Lisa L wants to know about the 911 call and what actually happened with all of the confusion. Okay, so what was going on in the 10 minutes before the 911 call? No. What was going on in the 30 minutes before the 911 call? 6 of Cups reversed. Couldn't believe what happened. Ooh. Ace of Cups reversed. Emotional outpour. The Emperor. What was going on in the 30 minutes before the 911 call? The Emperor was trying to calm the girls down and tell them what to do. What was going on 10 minutes before the... what was going on 5 minutes before the 911 call? Ten of Pentacles reversed. Nine of Cups reversed. So unhappiness, the evil or dark side of wealth. And we have another outpour of the cups. Outpour, outpour. One person outpouring, more than one person outpouring. In the half hour before the call, Bethany knew last. Bethany didn't know what happened until other people were already coming to the house. Other people were already there. Because this is representing that. They knew that Bethany would freak out, so waited till the last minute before everything was already in place to tell her. Did they pay her? Bethany was not happy about not immediately calling the cops. But other people had already been putting things in motion about how to handle this before Bethany knew. Like, allegedly, my opinion, Dylan discovered, called people, had them come over, and then told Bethany. And like by the time she told Bethany, it was very short amount of time before the cops were called. So Bethany didn't know until very late compared to other people. Like, I truly feel that whoever came to the house to clean up knew before Bethany. And Bethany was not happy. Clarifier. It was in reverse and thought. Sitting on a bench, contemplating, thinking about it, and it was in reverse. So they didn't give her a lot of time to think about it before they called. Actually, I want to see where this one goes. Southeast. So that goes with the sisters and with Jack and the girls at the bar. So southeast is basically when our southeast pile is someone reaching out for support and somebody else kind of saying no thanks, because the girls reached out to Jack. Jack wasn't available. Brian allegedly, in my opinion, reached out to his sister. His sister was not available. And now we have Bethany being like, hey, this isn't okay, and kind of being met with like a, you're going to go with this or else. Southeast. All right, 2 more piles. Oh, I'm not done that. Okay, so why was it said that the person they were checking on was just fainted or unresponsive? 7 of Pentacles. Three of Cups. Ten of Cups. Everybody finally got on the same page and agreed about something. But it was a lot of work to get one of them to agree to it. I don't know how it came about that an unconscious person was called in, because I've heard several theories about it just being like the standard to get help there quickly. I heard that the girls ran outside and somebody else said that because one of the girls passed out. What I'm seeing is that however it happened because that was part of the plan that everybody had to agree to, that they then enacted. So it had been planned for that phone call to be made without someone being like, hey, there's people stabbed to death everywhere. Like, that part of the plan was to not say that on that initial call. I don't know why, but that's what it was. And everybody had to get on board with it. Some money. And there's a living room table, people sitting around. Well, there's not people in the chairs, but chairs around a table where people could sit, and money on the table. Oh, we had the 10 of Pentacles reversed, and I said, did they pay her? Was Bethany given money to not say certain things or to wait to call police? Was there money given to Bethany by someone? 8 of Cups and the Devil in reverse. Yeah, let it go. Let it go. Shh, it's fine. Let it go. Don't say that. Don't do that. Just let it go. Here's some money. We got to think ahead. We're all going to be on the same page. So you need to just let it go. This is like, let it go, let it go, let it go, let it go, let it go. Like the drop it. This is someone saying you're going to drop it. Here's some money. You're going to drop it now. Southwest. So Southwest is over here with With how he left certain evidence in the apartment on purpose. He left evidence in the apartment connecting him to Bethany or Dylan. Or at least to produce reasonable doubt that he was connected to them. Because then that could explain why he was at the house. Oh my gosh. And that's why he's... Oh, I don't know if I should say that. Page of Cups. That's why he's waiting for the right time to play his card. Because if he waits until after somebody else says, I don't know him, I don't have a connection to him, and then they bring up, oh yeah, well, why was this in his apartment? How, if you don't have a connection to him, why did he have this of yours? Or why is this communication from you in the apartment? He left something purposely behind so that he could be connected in case he got caught. It's part of his plan. Okay. Let's see. Stella Keller wants to know if we can get a confirmation if Brian is an incel. And for those who don't know, incel means involuntarily celibate. So basically, you want that intimate connection and don't have it. Knight of Cups. Big yes. Big yes. Yes. So this being a knight and not a king is pointing towards like underachieving in terms of romance. Hold on. Actually, I'm going to look through this deck and show you the King of Cups that's in, or the Knight of Cups that's in this deck, and you'll understand what I'm saying. One second. Okay, so we pulled the Knight of Cups in this deck, but this is the Knight of Cups in another deck, and this kind of answers the question about being an incel, because you see the guy sitting on the stool, and he has like a picnic down here, and the white horse, but he's not on the white horse, he's on the stool, and he has the flowers in his hand, but no one to give them to. So, like, as soon as this card came out, this is the deck that flashed in my mind, and I think that that answers the question perfectly. So, in my opinion, is Brian an incel? Big yes. Hold on one second. Okay, confirmation card for that. It's in reverse. Desire, and it's someone looking out the window, so it's in reverse, so it's desire is harming him, and it's like looking in through the window since it's in reverse. I'm not going to pull a direction for this one because that doesn't make sense for that, but to answer the question, do I believe that Brian is an incel based off of this? Big yes. Okay, and then the last one we're going to do for right now, Sally Ramison says, please ask if knife is hidden up in the air like a tree or a shelf or an attic or tower. Also, if the knife was handed off to someone in his family or someone else in the house. All right, so let's see, is the knife hidden up in the air? which is something that I was thinking too, because I was seeing something secured to like the inside of a tower. So let's see what we get here. The Empress and the King of Pentacles. Is it hid up in the air? No. No, ground. Ground or water is what I'm getting. Hanged Man. It's secure. It's like on a string. It's like roped to something. Like if you threw it in the bottom of like a well or a body of water, or like, I guess it could be buried it, but then left like a mark. Didn't I say that before? There was a marker. Was that this case? No, I don't think it was. Yeah, like maybe like it could be like thrown into like a well or body of water or something, but there's something from keeping it from going away. So if it's in water, it's secured somewhere. If it is in the ground, there's some kind of marker that he knows where he can go back and get it. But I'm not seeing it up in the air. I'm not seeing it up in the air. Was the knife handed off to someone in his family or someone else in the house? Ooh. Let's first look into, was it handed off to a family member? Three of Swords. No. Three of Swords and Six of Swords reversed. There's the water again, but it's in reverse. No, and he didn't have it with him when his dad was there. It was gone. It was already disposed of by the time that his dad got to his house, I believe. Did he hand it off to someone in his family? No. Did he hand it off to someone in the house? The Moon. And Five of Swords reversed. No. So he didn't hand it off to a family member. He didn't hand it off to anyone in the house. Did he hand it off to anyone, though? Queen of Wands and King of Wands both reversed. Yes, he did. He handed it off to a female that had an idea of what to do with it. Female that's kind of just like him. The other reading, I said it felt like he kept it, didn't want to get rid of it, thought he was in the clear, but then once certain things started coming out on the news, he was like, I need to get rid of this, or someone else said to him, you need to get rid of that. That would be this. That would be either him handing it off to someone or someone being like, you're giving me that, I'm getting rid of it. Or like a pass off, like I'll leave it here, you get it, or here it is. But this is it exchanging hands from him to a female. Let's see where that is connected. North. So that's above everything. That's the only one we have up there now. So up above everything, she's holding it over his head, or he's holding it over her head. Somebody's holding it over somebody's head that they either know where it is or that they don't know where it is. So like, for example, if he gave it to someone and he doesn't know where it is, it could be that that's being used. Like, lover, connected. It doesn't have to be like romantically, but like it's pointing to a connection. And we had the King and the Queen of Wands both in reverse here, so it's pointing to that connection, like love, like sharing between one partner and another. Yeah, this guy's like has his coat half on, half off. He's either taking it off or putting it on. So it's like doing half the work, like got the knife, did the thing, now give the knife over or whatever. I see him passing it off to a female. And that's not the first time that I've gotten that. So I really feel strongly that there's a female who knows exactly where that knife is. One card for, I'm just gonna do one of these cards for each of the piles and then we're gonna be done for today. So Northwest, we have how we talked about, do people know anything was going to happen, even if they don't know the extent of what was going to happen? What card can we have from the 4 about that? Mystery, things you cannot explain. So we have people from the frat house who know something was going to happen, but didn't know the extent of it or didn't believe that it was actually going to happen. Something along that, but now we have a mystery that you cannot explain. And it's like the person's like fine, and then under here, under the water, she's like coming apart and you can see her bones in her rib cage. So it's like drowning in this mystery. Like the situation as a whole is like tearing people apart because they are so shrouded in mystery. Okay, so now we have up north, we have Brian potentially, allegedly giving the knife to a female, allegedly. Luck. By the magic of my 4-leaf clover, my lucky charm. There's a frog prince. Like Kiss the Frog. This woman made Brian feel like he was special. Like, okay, I see your pain. I see why you want to do this. I'm going to help you. But really had her own separate agenda. Northeast, we have... Oh. Person with information about the knife, which now I'm realizing is right next to this person. The Queen of Wands reversed that came out with the King of Wands reversed. That now came out with another. So we have the King of Wands reversed with the Queen of Wands reversed in this pile. We also have the Lovers, which is a connection between the two in that same pile. And we also have this card, which shows the Princess and the Frog. So another connection between the two. So person with information about the knife is right next to this. That was north, this is northeast. So right over to the side a little bit. So what can we know about the person with information about the knife? Quest, searching for my grail. The person with information about the knife is trying to help the police search for the grail, for that piece of the puzzle. So they might not know exactly where it is, but they might know where Brian went or something like that. They might have clues or ideas or something that can be used, even if they don't have the exact location of the knife. They know some kind of information about the knife, how he came to get the knife, or where he's used the knife before, like maybe hunting or something. Like they know something about the knife, and whatever it is, it's being passed along, that info, with the intention of trying to help find the knife. So that would imply to me that it's not the same person. So the person who hid the knife is not the person who's come forward with information about the knife. Now northeast, which is the same direction as the person that has information about the knife. This is how Brian ended up getting into the house. And if you remember, this one had to do with someone watching Ethan and Santa. It's in reverse. Imagination, beyond limits. But it was in reverse. We got this card the other day too. So imagination. But it was in reverse. So imagination in reverse would be like, okay, I see them going home now, and then them not going home, and then that being the wrench thrown in the plans. Oh, we have the Queen of Cups in this pile in terms of how he got in. This also gives me the energy, because we're talking about how he got in. This gives me the energy of like waiting somewhere that he could see the house, but not going into the house first, which would imply that he didn't just drive up, jump out of the car, jump in, do this, and leave, in my opinion. So now we have 3 piles southeast. So underneath of how he got in, underneath of the person that has information about the knife, now we have Bethany's pile. And Bethany's pile was essentially saying she wasn't happy about not being allowed to call the police right away, or whatever happened, and she kind of had to be convinced or persuaded. Consuming art, express or die. Consuming art. Maybe it wasn't money, maybe it was a threat. Hey, here's money, please don't say anything. Or, hey, here's money, we're not calling yet. And then, no, I don't want your money. And then, okay, well, you could take the money, or I can just do something very bad to you if you don't want to listen to what I'm saying. That's what I'm seeing here. Either she was threatened or bribed, something. to get her to not call the police right away, or not call the police earlier than they ended up doing, because Bethany was not on board with it. Was not on board with waiting, was not on board with any of that. She just, something bad happened and I know that we should call the cops now. That was her mindset. And something stopped her from being able to do that. Now we have Brian's sisters and the possibility that he may have reached out to one of them a couple days prior to this happening and maybe didn't get the response that he wanted. Not blaming them, just explaining what I see. Obviously, there's no way that they could have known. Nightmares in the dark of the night. He called them when he couldn't sleep one night and they didn't answer, and they didn't call him back the next morning. Again, I'm not blaming them. I'm just telling you what I'm getting. But that is part of it. That was one of those initial, how I said, there was like a trigger. That was one of the triggers. He either wasn't sleeping well, or he couldn't sleep, or maybe he had a nightmare or something. Maybe it was he wanted to talk about it the next morning. I'm feeling like it was at nighttime. I feel like it was at nighttime and he called, and the next day no one called him back. Now a card for the girls interacting with Jack at the bar, and no, let's just do that. The girls interacting with Jack at the bar. Exploring. Far off lands are awaiting. So I said that at the bar they were talking about what they were doing and what their plans were. Far off lands are awaiting. That's just confirmation of that. And then the 10 phone calls to Jack. Card for that. Dark path, learning from your mistakes. So in terms of why did they call him all those times, I said earlier that it was because they needed something he had told them not to do previously. They did, and they wanted to be like, oh, this is gonna be okay, and he didn't answer, but they knew that something bad. So those 3 piles were all southeast, so they're all together. They're all kind of in the same category or connected in some way. And then we go down to the bottom south. We have the potential for other people to be arrested, but they're not arrested because they could be potentially being used for another purpose. Card about that. The mirror, escaping my own image. And it shows a girl who's like looking like mirror, mirror on the wall, looking into the mirror on the wall. Other people, they have enough on other people to arrest them, but they're not because they're using them for something else. This is like someone looking through a portal and there's like there's like a dark image over here. It's painting the picture of exactly that. It's painting the picture of other people could be, there's enough put together to other people to go down for this, but they're looking at using them for something else. So that was the only one south. Now we have southwest. We have that he potentially purposely left evidence at the apartment that would link him to someone from that house, and he left it there on purpose. What's a card for that? Dangerous passion, red as a bleeding heart. immediately this is making me think drugs, because the mouth is making me feel like nosebleed. I know it's coming from the mouth, but it's like, it's given like Sleeping Beauty type of vibes. Three of Wands reverse. Yeah, he left something in the apartment on purpose that's meant to bring some kind of delay or setback to the prosecution. It's something drug related that connects him to Bethany and or Dylan and or the house that he purposely did not get rid of or delete or dispose of. Also, Southwest, we have them or someone telling Bethany, quiet, drop it, you're not going to say anything, it's going to be our way. Money involved, money or threats. Is that yarn? It looks like a ball of yarn that makes me feel like the spider web, like connecting everything together. It's in reverse. Autumn, isn't that scary? She was threatened. It's not money, she was threatened. She was offered money, turned it down, they threatened her. Allegedly, my opinion. And then the last pile we have is that Adam told somebody that got the ball rolling with this. So what's a card for that? Earth in reverse. You gain what you work for. But it was in reverse. You gain what you work for makes me feel like it wasn't just him randomly telling somebody something, but it was more of like, hey, tell me when this happens, or hey, tell me when this, or if you hear anything about this, make sure you let me know. That kind of thing. I'm gonna wrap it up with, let's see what this is that fell on the floor. Time to use, not to lose. Time. Oh, time. He told somebody when they left. My opinion, he told somebody when they left. Justice in reverse. I believe he told somebody when the girls left that night at the bar. Or if it wasn't that he told somebody that they left, it was that he told somebody something when they left. But I feel like that would have put things in place a little bit too late. So it had to be that he was told somebody something And then they said, let me know when they leave. Or something like that. Or it could potentially be that he told somebody something and then somebody else was watching for when they left. But there's some correlation between the two there. If Maddie could give us one card about Adam. If Maddie could give us one card about Adam and Kaylee could give us one card about Adam. In terms of whatever was done with the information that was given to him that night. What would Maddie say? Air, purify yourself. Wow. She's the one who talked to Adam, so it's like putting everything out there, clearing the air. And then what would Kaylee say? Air. So what would Maddie say about Adam? Air. It's clearing the air, telling somebody, passing it around, passing the information. Rest. Come and hear my lullaby. And it's someone laying on a bench. So Maddie's pointing towards Adam sharing the information. So we have air with a 2 on it and rest with a 24 on it. The information from Adam went to 4 people. I don't know if he told 4 people or if he told one person that was with 3 other people. But that's how one of those 4 people is how that information ended up getting back to Link. So this is something that happened earlier than the time that they left. And then when they left, either Adam or somebody else gave a heads up to another person that they had left after already having the information given to them about what the girls were saying. And then one last card from Ethan and Xana about everything that was said here. Some kind of like confirmation. Summer, the highest height, and it has a sun on it. I said confirmation, bringing light to everything. The highest height. Figuring it out, look, the highest height up top, looking at the situation from like a higher perspective so we can see everything clearly. Turning the light on in the room so we can see everything clearly. It's like the only bright card. I asked for a confirmation and got this card. But look at all the other ones. Dark, 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 dark. Dark. I know you get the point, but I'm really hammering it home because dark, 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 dark. Confirmation card. I will talk to you guys soon.